Thank you very much for tuning up to the next episode. This one is with a very good friend of mine, Donát Salamon. He's a student in Centria University of Applied Sciences like I am. We were discussing topics like education system, studying in Finland, studying in Kokkola. Then we discussed stuff like Hungary, Czech Republic, and many other topics. Once again, I would like to thank Centria University of Applied Sciences for providing me with the equipment and with the location to record this episode in. Nevertheless, I wish you a pleasant journey.
Right. How are you, dude?
Everything is fine. It's second round, attempt 2.
Yeah. So, the first one didn't go as well.
Yeah,
as
like
well as
someone expected
anticipated.
Yeah.
But you have only the electromagnetism at this point,
Yeah.
and then you're finished with the IT.
Yeah. Both
Bachelor's.
mentally and with the degree as well. Exactly. Like the thesis is done. It's done already, fortunately. So now only the last subject.
How
is
did
left.
So for the thesis you had to do the theoretical part that went to thesis, right? Then
Yeah.
the practical part, and for the practical part you did a presentation.
Yeah, well, it's a bit interesting. I was very surprised also because actually for the thesis, even though you do a practical one, it's the program is like you don't have to do anything with it. So for me it was like a bit weird because it's like, and also Kirsti, the head of the degree, he mentioned that he would like to change a couple of things about that because you don't have to do anything with it technically. Like every part of both the presentation, like the thesis, it only includes the thesis itself, the writing part. Yeah. And for the presentation, you could include the program itself also, but it's just weird because beforehand I thought that okay, there is like a GitHub where you like a GitHub repo where you have to upload it or something, but no, it's just the writing part itself, which is weird a bit because like engineering itself, it's like much more like practical, and the way also it's like we study at here is like also practical, which is I think it's much better than theoretical because in order to do the practical you have to know the theory as well. And the best way to learn this, if we just think about like math or sciences, it's always not that you try to memorize or just read and try to understand it through the text that they write down, but rather through examples. Because as you know, like math gets harder at the moment when there is more text, like words or letters than numbers. That's when it usually gets hard, but it's still much better to do it through practice, like examples, because you understand it that way much better.
Yeah, that's so for the practical part nobody like checks it, or you just create it, you say I created this, you put some screenshots in the theoretical framework and that's it?
Yeah, technically.
Nobody goes through the code, nobody's That's
For me,
strange.
Yeah, exactly. I was also like that because I was doing validations and all kind of these extra things that, okay, like no matter who they give this program to, it will work. Like it gives instructions like if what to do properly, like there cannot be any errors. So it's not necessary that an engineer or like someone who actually knows a bit more about IT would use it, but it's like actually very user friendly and intuitive in a way that anyone could use it. Because I remember it was one of the like the criterias for also the document itself, what we had to write, that anyone who would read it later on would have to understand it. So we had to write it in that way. So that's how, when we did the thesis, like that's how we tried to also design both the code, because it was part of how we thought that to do the thesis, that it should be like a structured, like with the industry use design patterns, and also the architecture-wise, like, and also the projects, how they should be layered. So it's not like that everything is just tossed in there and then just try to figure it out, all the classes and everything, but it should be rather organized and layered.
And so nobody went through.
No.
I remember you beating yourself over the abstract classes.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And creating the generic.
Yeah, yeah. Like I could have just put all these codes like in the main.cs and then and then go with Jesus. But yeah, actually,
That's so weird. And okay, and the presentation went like you just had a couple of slides and I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes of presenting the general idea of the thesis.
Yeah, exactly. Because now Centria, that this is also again like I really like these like innovation ideas that they try to do this in a way that it should be more public, so people could learn from it. So now, if I know correctly, this was the first time that it was organized in a way that students who like want to graduate like now, then they would put them on the same day for the presentation, and then they would go in slots like 15 minutes. Each individual would have like 15 minutes, and then students could come there and get ideas about the whole process. I think the main thing that they could get from it is that they don't have to stress about it, because it can be very overwhelming, especially if you get like you go to Vihi and then you see like 6 different tabs that yes, you are at 0 and there is 6 things to do, and yeah, you have like a program to do, and you also have like the thesis itself work to do, and then the evaluators and or like the advisors like will say like a lot of other things to do. So you have so many steps in front of you, and then you just think, I haven't even started yet. like how the hell? And for that reason, I think that's why they should mainly come here or go there rather to these open events. And that's why I think when Kirsti mentioned that they rather think in this way, that would want to be more open. And this is exactly my first thought that came to my mind, that this could be a good showcase in order to like, you can chill, like it's doable, one step at a time, and at last time, like just always think about the next, not like the overall, like, because we could think like what's ahead of us in life, but that would be just even more stressful. But like we talked before, like always cross the bridge when you get there, like rather this mentality. So I really like this idea again that Centria tried to do, that it would be more public, although it started at 8, so it was probably very early for students, and I think there was like 1 or 2 students only, and I'm not sure about the problem. Maybe they should advertise it differently, like on its learning, on thesis part, or something more effective, I think, because probably like students would more come if they are already here than at campus, for example at 10, 11 o'clock, or rather try to do like different advertising styles, because I think it wasn't advertised that well. But it could be a very good experience for students who was this whole event aimed for, like the students who will do their thesis now.
I want to jump on that because I was thinking about it. Like yesterday, I was writing an assignment, and I was supposed to get 3 projects from the R&D department and just write something about them and how I could use how they could use me in the projects if I was there. And I realized that the way that they are announcing events here is so poor because
Yes.
like nobody ever told us about that. It was not on the like Centria news webpage. I didn't get any notification in its learning. And so if I didn't talk to you having this presentation, I wouldn't even know that there is anything like that. And the point of the story, why I'm saying the assignment from yesterday, is that I was going through the projects, and there was a lot of the projects had like one of them was an Erasmus project, like to go abroad. One of the projects had an event that was like a 3 hours event with 3 different speakers here with like food and everything. And nobody knew about that because there was like zero like the usual marketing here tends to be that 2 days ahead they send an email.
Or to do, or to do, or what? Yeah.
and or Tudo, yeah.
Yeah.
And which is the two least read
Exactly.
platforms by the
Yeah.
students, in my opinion.
And probably Centria's website that's unnecessary. Like the website is unnecessary hard to like follow, navigate
Yes,
through. Like
yes.
it's like to get some basic information, you have to like click like 12 times to 12 different pages.
I'm not,
like,
I'm not navigating through the websites anymore. Like I go to Centria and then I immediately click on the search and I use the search, because otherwise I wouldn't ever find anything.
Yeah.
And it's constructive criticism. We like Centria.
exactly. Like this is also like an
But I feel like but the news platform that they have on the website is good. Like if the students could use that, or the It's Learning platform, the information technology channel. Like people apparently read that. So like make a. It's basically like any business, like make an analysis what the students read and use that channel for promoting all of the events at one place, so the students get used to it. And because there was the event that I was talking about, there was 3 speakers. One of them came all the way from Tampere.
Really?
One of them is like a local gaming industry developer, and the other one was an entrepreneur. They were talking about interesting things, and it was very interesting topics being discussed there. The whole speaking area was like the listening room was for like, I don't know, 50 people. There was maybe 6 of us. There was like food and snacks and coffee for free and everything. And there was nobody, because they did not market it at all.
Yeah. It's like but I also understand it's hard in a way, because what I came to realize is that in Finland in general, people still advertise a lot of things in newspapers, for example. Like a lot of things in Kokkola, like we don't even know about, is they are in the newspapers, like the physical ones. And just today morning, I was like waiting for a meeting, and I talked with some dudes who I know, and they were reading the newspapers. And to me, at this point, it's not surprising that that they have everything in there. But to be honest, when I was maybe little, I held a newspaper, but I never actually read the one. Like, it's crazy. And for example, Kulma, it's a local restaurant here. Like, they had a waffle day. Like, you could eat unlimited waffle, which to me at least it's a big thing. The cheat day was set, and but with salmon and everything. And
wait, waffles with salmon?
Yeah, bro. Like I
Stop it.
Yeah, like I can. There are some things that I can't. This is one of them. Like, we went there with 2 other dudes. And when I looked at it, oh, okay, jam, this jam, that jam, oh, ooh, this candy, some cancer, very nice. And then I looked, salmon salad. And I was like, who comes here on waffle day? And then I picked my waffles, and then all the Finns next to me picked the salmon. And I'm like this, and it's crazy. And I got to realize, like, a pancake shop in Vaasa also, they also like serve salmon. It's like I just, and I came to realize we just have to accept these also. Like, this is also part of the culture, that maybe they don't like jam that well, but they like to stick to the regular ones. Like, even if it's the pairing is, it to us it may sound very weird actually,
Yes,
but yes. But back to the topic, like this advertisement, like they never advertise it anywhere, only in the newspaper. And it was for there was a holiday somewhere, and there was also like a bazaar in around Chidania at that time. And there were people with dogs, and also like a famous reporter came here from Helsinki. But yeah, whatever. But they never advertised it, only in the newspapers. And for us students, on the other hand, maybe it would be really to do really like an analysis what the students use, but like they should rather stick to platforms that are mandatory to use, like it's learning would be like a very good example. I believe so, because all of our courses are there and we will use it either way. Or I'm not sure if it's possible, but the Peppy could be like the front page. That would be like a news. I'm not sure like if Peppy is like a centralized thing, or it's rather like a Centria thing.
No, it's across
the country.
Universities, yes.
Yeah, so I'm not sure like how much they can modify on it, or it just like.
Yeah, well, in its
but
learning
still.
it would work.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
there is the information technology channel, which
and
works.
the thesis, then the thesis channel.
So just create a third one and like general announcements and put stuff there. Yeah, but anyways, that's a thing that I believe that Centria should work on a little bit. It's a lot of the times not even the people within Centria know. Like some of the employees are like, oh, there is an event, I didn't even know about that. Like, how is that even possible?
Yeah.
We work with each other.
Exactly. Like, and these are such a good opportunities for students. Like that's why I'm a bit sad about this, that it should be addressed in a way that they could actually learn something, and also, I mean, the food is free also, that's one thing, but economically it would be also a wise choice, but they could really miss out on critical information about what they are looking for, especially like students who are in their beginning of their studies, like where they want to go.
But I believe this is exactly the point. It's kind of like a mismatch of communication, because the students say that, oh, there is not enough events, we want to attend more networking, we want to be more with the companies, and we want to more like talk to each other. There is not enough socializing in the school. Yeah. Whilst the teachers say, well, there are events, but nobody goes to them.
Exactly.
Yeah? Well, then the solution is kind of right there.
Yeah, exactly. Just as it by itself.
Just kind of you have to tell each other, you know. But that's a thing. But I want to get back to even from Salmon now to the news, and now to even level up. So and in the presentation you were like just some introduction, then you went through the chapters of the thesis, of the general idea, then some conclusion, and no questions, or there were some teachers asking questions, or?
Well, I asked the Kirsty about how should we structure the presentation, because I could imagine it in two ways. That's why I asked him. I can imagine that based on, because it all depends technically what's the purpose of that they made it public, so we could a bit customize towards that. So if they rather want to support the students, that like the upcoming ones who are going to write the thesis, then we could do it in a more storytelling way, that they should think about like what they have to find something that they want to solve, right? Or what are their interests, what are their fields, or like how did we get the idea? Because for me, like this university application, it's like came from personal experience. Like before I moved to Finland, I checked like the educational system, how does it work? And then all I saw is like, university of applied sciences, open universities. And for us, this could be in Chinese, like it would mean the same for us, right? Because we just have universities. And then I tried to search for it, and then Reddit came up. Yeah, Reddit is like source, trust me, bro. So it's like the same technically. So I was like, okay, I guess just let's go with random. And I had no idea about them. And but these are like also such a good opportunities. Like for example, this open university, it has such a good value that there are people who need some extra knowledge, but they are in the workforce already. They can access it immediately. But back to the point. Like so, it came from my personal experience that okay, this is a bit weird. So maybe, and it's too centralized. Like it's everything is there. Like all the different schools, from high school, university, bachelor, PhD, open university, the immigration parts, and everything is there. And then when we looked into like how do other countries do, for example, the Danish system, it's like very good. The Danish system, it's like
the what system?
Danish.
Oh, Danish.
Danish.
Yeah.
Yes. What they do is exactly what we thought. And what came to my mind is that have a layer like different websites for each like level of education, and in that sense it's much more organized, and it doesn't have to be at the same place, because there they have like for each educational level they have different websites to apply through. So that's actually how my idea came. But like back to the presentation topic, it's like that's what I asked him, like should we rather talk about this so they get like the how to get inspiration, or how should they think to get the inspiration, or rather it should be more technical. So that's why we try to include both of them, how this idea came, what I just mentioned now, and also like not exact things, but like the technologies, the frameworks, the ideas that we use, and why did we use them. But separately, we also showed the program itself to the supervisor because she was interested in it. But it was only 15 minutes, so that's what we could include.
So there was no like opponenture. It was the presentation's purpose was kind of informative for rather the students than to have some sort of a clash between the teacher and the student to see like
that was also present. We got some feedback and some questions like have we thought about this or that, so it happened already, but yeah, I think it was more like a general presentation for showcasing.
And so one more or maybe two more recaps.
Yes.
So first the theoretical framework and the practical, then you put that on thesis, and you go for the presentation, and the third step is the test.
No, it's actually before you put so the way this whole process goes is that you start this whole process, then you have to select the topic, and you have to give like technically the table of contents, like what's going to be there. But it has to be just like an outline, like how it looks like. That's the very first step. Then you submit the 1/3, you submit the 2/3, and somewhere there is going to be like a language check that the language advisor will look through it, and he or she will like suggest like where you have to improve it, inline references or in-text references, or some linguistic like suggestions. And then afterwards, after the 2/3 is done, the third part will be the plagiarism. That's the very first thing. You have to save it as a PDF. Plagiarism.
Oh, plagiarism.
Yeah, plagiarism.
Okay.
Yep. And they check it technically. There was no copying, and it's like a very universal system, so it doesn't matter. It checks all the universities everywhere, like in Finland. And not only that, but I'm pretty sure that it checks even your the submitted assignments through Learning. I'm pretty sure, because for us, like I used a part of like a previous class that I included in the thesis, and QST first texted us that the plagiarism check failed, and you're like that's not really possible. And then, but he said that it's not a problem because it's actually your stuff. Like my that I submitted an assignment like 1 year ago for professionally speaking, I suppose, because I was writing about .NET Core and how the compiler works, and it was included here in the thesis at the same time. And after the plagiarism in general, there is going to be like the maturity test. So you kind of have to pass that, and after you pass the maturity test, that's when you can upload the thesis.
Okay. First of all, that's pretty cool that they can see
everything.
They can see whether you have I mean, rather from where the plagiarism is coming from. That's pretty cool. And so after this plagiarism check and the language check, you get to do the exam.
Yes, after the plagiarism check, we get to do the exam.
Okay, and the exam is like how does it look like?
It's actually look the same as that's Centria guideline. It's like there's like a website where it tells you how to write the thesis, like all the pictures, how do you define codes, like if it's 15 or 20 line more, then it have to be something else, or what is a figure. So everything is defined there. Some things can be confusing a little bit, so you may have to talk with the supervisor, like how exactly does this work. But actually this part is like very accurate, like the maturity test, like they will offer like 2 to 4 like topics. It can be about anything related to your thesis, and then you have to write 400 words.
Each or all in all?
All in all.
Okay, so you have once again 4?
2 to 4 topics they will just suggest. Then you select one, and then you have to write like 400 words plus technically.
Okay, and so one of the questions could be something like, why did you choose, I don't know, to use this framework on this particular issue?
Yeah, exactly, like something like this, for example. So they kind of check that you know what you are talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. And well, okay, and then it's the exam, and then you submit it to the thesis, and then you do the presentation.
Exactly.
And that's it from the, and then that's the 15 credits for writing the thesis.
It's 5 actually, the last part, because the first part is the 1/3, second part is the second 5 credits is 2/3, and this whole last third part is
the third.
Yeah.
Third.
And actually there is like the fourth, that's when you get like evaluated. But like the third one is like where everything happens and you have the presentation, then it jumps to the fourth and you already have the grade, because most of the time they grade it already, like before like the maturity test kind of. So, but they just don't tell it right, because first you write it, then you do the presentation, that's when they go to the fourth one and write the grade. Actually, that's just to put the grade there. Yeah.
Well, what now when you finish the bachelor?
Very good question. That's how I get up all day asking this myself. What now? Well,
but you're about to continue with the business bachelor's now?
Yes, definitely. Like,
and you can start already now, or you have to wait for the next autumn?
Well, in theory, this is what I really like about the Finnish education system, that we can, like, it doesn't matter what major you are in, you can take all the courses. So fortunately, this whole system is very lenient, and it has like so many opportunities for students who actually want to learn and do something. Because that you are a student here, it may sound weird, but it actually means much more than just you are a student somewhere. Because like in our own countries, because if you're a student there, you follow a step-by-step like route that the university designed. But here, you become a student and you acquire this status that you are a student. So a lot of door opens to you. And I don't talk about like student benefits, but rather that you can study and do whatever you want, in that sense that I can stay as an IT student and I just don't have to like graduate, and I can take all the courses that I'm interested in. So I'm not limited to my field in that sense, and I love this, because it just allows me to do and study whatever I want technically. And but also I can understand for some people it can be rather a burden, that they don't have the path in front of them, and then it can be like either frustrating or something like that, that they have to come up with their own path, like to think forward. Okay, this semester I want to do this or that. So I can totally understand that someone likes that they just know what they have to do this semester, next semester, and they have a clean path in front of them. But for me, this is like much more convenient, because I can always look for something more.
I don't feel like that's an issue, because all the study fields have their sort of like a recommended study plans. So if you don't know what to do, you just follow the plan and you're good to go. But it's really a good point that we get to choose whatever we want to study. That's in this sense. For me, I don't know. It might be a little specific to Centria because Centria is a little different in this sense, I believe.
No,
it might be also that it's the same way everywhere. But what was one of the things that I'm always explaining to foreign students when they're like asking me questions about Centria is that I love about Centria that there is much in comparison to Czech schools, it's much less bureaucracy and much more reasoning.
Yeah.
So like when you come with an innovation or an idea or like, okay, this is, you go to, I don't know, Kirsty or somebody head of some department and you're like, I have a proposal, it is out of the system because nobody did it before and this, like I have this and this and that. Like they don't tell you like, yeah, that's not gonna work. They tell you their honest opinion.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's not gonna work, but sometimes like I have recently, I was supposed to do a software testing course, right? And I looked through the contents of the course, and I was like, that like I cannot study that. Like I already know that. Yeah. And so I just went to a couple of teachers that did my bureaucracy round. So it varies of course a little bit. And then I ended up with a booth with Aliaskar, and he was like, okay, well then tell me what you know, how. He was kind of testing me whether I actually know that stuff or I'm just trying to avoid the course. Yeah. And when he confirmed that I do know the stuff, I just got the credits, right? And that's like absolutely unimaginable in our countries, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And so this is what I really love, that I believe that in Centria here it might be even to a higher degree since it's quite a small school, so it's much easier to take to oversight. Like it might be something different when you're in Helsinki where there's like 26,000 students. You can maybe do it as freely as here. Yeah. But it is really nice that especially with the profiling competence, sometimes you just come up with like, look, I have a project and the project contains this, this and this. I would use these technologies. What do you think if we would do this as credits? And they're like, yeah, sure, totally. Yep. Which is amazing. This basically exactly what you are pointing out, that the students get involved when they're interested in doing so.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like even just the very fundamental part that you mentioned, that you can actually go them and even just like suggest something. Like even this part is like unimaginable, that you go to head of the degree of one of the degrees and you can just like casually talk them and suggest something, and then it also happened that they ask feedback, like what do you think, like how would this or that work? Like for example, this presentation about this public presentation, it was the same also, that what do you think, like would this be helpful for the students? And this is like just amazing, like even when you check the PSPs from semester to semester, it's different because they always try to upgrade it, and this is something very important, especially nowadays that everything is evolving so fast, that the technologies, the priorities between frameworks, they are constantly changing, and the needs, what do we need to know, like students, what do we need to know? And in this sense, it's very nice that they try to adapt to it. And it's also good for the teachers because they can also learn something new also and keep up with what happens nowadays.
How would you compare? Well, let me grab it from a different end. I promise you for the last time, explain how did you get to Finland?
Yeah, so for me, like this whole...
it's probably good to mention that you're from Hungary.
Yes, yes, I'm from Hungary, yes. Like for me, I had a very lucky opportunity to come to Finland during the coronavirus. and I was like studying in Hungary at that time at my own university there, and it was online teaching, but I could come here for like a month or two for the summer, and then just during the first week, like I saw the differences. Like I'm thinking about how people think, because beforehand there was like a talk that I would go to after high school to a university abroad, but at that time I was like I wasn't open-minded enough, and I just thought that yeah, it's different, but it couldn't be that different. So I didn't want to like give up like friends and then start like with a new card, right? At that time, but now that I came here, and even just after a couple of days, like when I went to do groceries, I just saw the difference, like how people like greeted, like they said good morning, and not how it works in our countries that you just go there to do the groceries. It's like 8 a.m. they just opened, and the lady's like, we just opened. You actually came here when we just opened. Like, when do I read my news? Like, what happened in one of the reality shows that they just do, like who got kicked out from the surviving house or something like this. And you actually did came here. And obviously, if you see this, and then it also affects you in a way that, yeah, like this negativity, as we talked before, that it affects you, even though you don't want, like negativity, like brings negativity. And then it's not good to start your day when that's the first thing that you meet up with, when you just want to buy a croissant, right? But here it's like totally different, that everyone is happy, and it kind of feels like that that it doesn't matter what happens in their background, they are still happy, and this is what I really like. And there is also a difference between this and, for example, what happens in Asia, because in Asia it's part of the work that you have to be happy. Kind of, it sounds a bit weird, but this is much better because this is honest happiness. And it also, I just felt it on myself that, yeah, this is like a very good like environment, like I could live here. And then after like it was like a week, then I was like, yeah, well, I will live here. And then it's decided. So
And sorry, I'm gonna
Yep.
jump into it because there's quite a lot to unbuckle.
Okay.
It's almost like making a dialogue with Trump. Gonna ask a question and go off rails. but well, it's great. It's great.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
great. It's great. But so you came here, the opportunity that the great opportunity, quote
Yeah.
unquote, that you said. That's your stepfather is Finnish,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, but he's
I-
Hungarian, but he has been living here for many years.
Okay. And he moved here because
Like he moved here with the sports.
sports.
Yeah.
What did he do?
Volleyball.
Volleyball.
Yeah.
In Finland.
Yeah.
You can do that here like 2 months a year, no?
Well, yeah, like
Well, it's probably beach volleyball rather.
yeah, but
So-
it was quite big back then.
Wow.
Maybe it's big now also.
Okay, interesting. And so because your mom moved to Finland,
Yeah, like
you
before
went to
that, yeah.
visit because there was Corona and
Yeah,
to study online.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Then another thing was you finished high school in IT in Hungary,
Yes.
and then went for university in Hungary for a year.
Yeah, it was for 1 year. Yeah, and the second semester was like through online here, technically. So it was in 2019 September I started, and I did the first semester normally. And then from 2020, like February, technically, it was like already the coronavirus situation was like already ongoing.
Okay, and then you were also pointing out that like a comparison to Asia. That was just to mention that was because you were half a year in South Korea, right?
Yes.
In Seoul.
No, it was 2 hours away from Seoul, in Cheongju. And yeah, because it's like very good to see, like because you can see the differences actually. Like when someone is honest, honestly happy, and because the vibe is just different, or like they kind of have to be, like it's just different.
Yeah, I could believe so. I could believe so. Of course, my experience is limited with Asia, so far at least.
Yeah, okay.
But
Soon enough.
soon enough, hopefully.
Yeah.
But it is, yeah, well, I mean, I'm not gonna go deeply into this because we discussed it the last time, but just for the sake of repeating it, it is like this sort of thing that when you talk to somebody and you start the conversation with something negative, like the chain off of that is naturally going to be negative. If you tell me that your shoulder hurts, my most likely going to response is going to be that my knee hurts also. So we are just like gonna unwrap, and it works the other way around, which is very notable in here in Finland, that when you're like going out or talking to somebody, everybody's smiling, everybody's happy, so that makes you happy, makes you start the conversation positively. Anyways.
Yes, exactly. Like, but this is just so true. Even when I talk with like other foreigners who came here and they can speak, like, for example, Swedish also, they just mention it whenever they like speak Swedish, for example, they automatically feel happy. It's just so crazy when they speak, and when I heard it, it's like I just immediately associate it to like this topic that's why, well, we also talked about this before, that's why whenever we talk with our relatives, it's pointless to talk about negative things, because first we cannot change it and it will just be put on top of each other, right? So that's why we should rather talk about things that are like positive, and that way we can avoid like, because they just can't change anything, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's a big part of the reason why we are here.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Well, about the reason why I'm bringing your upbringing to Finland this time is because I don't want, not that I want to talk about how amazing Finland is, that we can do, of course, as well, but I wanted to rather talk about Hungary a little bit. So this is like a kind of course. But what about the other topics? Like, what else is there different, except for the political system? We'll talk about the politics as well.
Yeah.
But let's start like with generally. So the number one thing that is for you as for me is that like the people are much more positive and much more nice to each other. What are the like next things that you would point out that is like different? And it doesn't have to be positive. It can be that something is better in Hungary.
Well, there is not really. There is not really anything, because the reason for that is, at the end of the day, it's like, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter what it is in life, like if it's work, business, like everyday things. At the end of the day, it all goes down how people think. So fundamentally, I don't think that it's like possible to say like anything that's like kind of better in this sense, because fundamentally the way people think is like, if it's like happier and then it's nicer, it will just everything be eventually better. Because every time in Hungary, for example, they mention all the time the Finnish education system, like how good it is, even like 10 years ago. And at that time I didn't understand it, but the moment I came here and I experienced it, then I just think about it that it's just not possible to adopt it, because this is very, very good, but it can only apply to the people here, and this works for them, and because that's how they think, and it's like very good, but it couldn't be applied to many other countries, because the norms there and the tolerance level and everything is just so different. And like, such a thing as tolerance comes from multiple ways, like what is like your everyday life, if it's like stressful at home or not. So for example, for a teacher, if it's stressful at home or has to work a lot, like nowadays in Hungary, then for them it's just natural that it's harder to be happy. And then the next day go to work when they slept like 6 hours or 5, and then try to be happy and do everything like that well, because it's just like not possible. So that's why it would be like quite hard to say like things that are like better, because it's fundamentally like not really possible from everyday life, even, or like from work also, but maybe the food. Like I miss the food, because here it's like everything is very general, which is like good in a sense, but exactly the waffle example is the perfect one, that like salmon and salmon salad is like a very common thing here, and it no matter what the food is, they pair the same things up. So in that sense, maybe the food, that there could be more, they could be also more brave on other fields other than just the studying field, because as we mentioned here, like Centria and also the university system is just trying to adapt, because other universities also, when I look always the open courses and the available courses, I see new and new things and approaches that they try to do, but maybe they should also do this on other fields, like for example food. Yes. I love ABC though, it's crazy good.
ABC?
Yeah, ABC, the ABC food, it's usually crazy good.
Really?
It's consistently good. I'm not sure how, but it's always like everything is very good, for real. It's crazy good.
Well, that's I'm not gonna dive into Finnish food because it's just
Yeah.
Well, for me personally, I would say that for example, the things that I kind of quote unquote miss about Czech Republic.
Yeah, I'm actually interested in what are those?
Except for like, of course, my friends and stuff. But
Yeah,
that's not dependent on Czech, rather on your environment, right? But one thing that was like a kind of a surprise was from historical point of view, from like architecture, because Finland which is not a thing that is wrong with Finland, it's just a thing with Finland. It's nothing you can do about it. But the history is much younger than ours and much less rich than ours. So that was one of the things. The nature is also very. To be fair, nature here is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's absolutely great in the sense that it's really clean and people are. There is this sort of bond between Finnish people and nature.
Yes, that's
so
very true.
They are like
this mökki tradition, for example.
It's there. It's like the Finnish people are kind of like protecting the nature. It's their kind of like,
and they are involved with it at the same time. Like that holidays involve these mökki trips into the forest, where everyone has their own like family mökkis.
Yes.
And it's very nice. Yeah.
Whilst in Czech Republic, it tends to be that the people are like, yeah, we have nice nature, but I'm just gonna throw a can in there, right? That's quite unfortunate. But point being is that Finland is a pancake. It's flat.
Yeah.
There is no hills whatsoever. It's the Finland's like diversity in nature is literally forest, lake, and that's it. And cities, of course. But so that's another thing that I'm sort of missing, because it's much more diverse in our regions. And then the third would be probably food and drinking, as of like. Flavor, like, I don't know, beer or stuff like that.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned, I just realized something on the go, that maybe the reason why, I didn't realize this now, but like I knew it from beforehand, I just remembered it, that maybe for me, I couldn't really say anything, but when you mentioned like structure and like history and all the buildings, it's like true for Hungary also, that this very old, like Budapest, the parliament and everything. But for me, like this experience that I try to live all the time, is like, I don't try to compare it. Like I always try to embrace the traditions and the culture to learn from it. Because I don't think in a way that, okay, this is the standard. Like for example, okay, this is like Hungary, like where I'm from. And then I compare things. Because that's, I think, not fair, and it's not fair. It's not even not fair, but it's unnecessary, because we shouldn't compare these things, because these are individual things, and we should look at it in their own separate way. And I don't think that it's okay. Maybe the food is like not a good idea that that we stick to the same, but in that sense, all the structures, the way they build these wooden houses, for example, it's part of their culture, I think. So that's why I couldn't like recall, like, for example, structure, the architecture. I really, because it's also like very, very different, and it's like very old styled in Budapest. But like I couldn't really recall these differences, because I never thought of it like that. Every time when I go to some new places, I don't try to compare it in that sense, because it's theirs. Like ours, like Czech Republic or Hungary, it's like that's not the base, but that's just one of them. And that's why for me it was like I never really thought of this, because in my mind it's like already like everything is separated, everything has its own, has their own, so it's nothing better or worse, maybe the food, right? But but everything else, it's their own. Everything is their own. Like the way they like, and it's crazy good, by the way. These mökkis in the forest, it's pretty chill. It's so good. It's their thing. I mean, obviously the way we throw the cans to everywhere in our countries, that's exactly like what we mentioned beforehand. Is the way the people think there.
I would like argue that I feel like I understand the point what you're trying to say, but I'm not against that. I do believe that the structures, the historical structures that we have in Prague or Budapest, of course it's impossible to have them here, because the history is just wildly different. So, but their history is exactly like wooden houses or like I don't know, Lutheran church and all this stuff. But I'm rather I'm not comparing the types. I'm rather comparing the amount, because when you go to, for example, Budapest, the history is all around you. When you go to Helsinki, you have, well,
yeah, but that's still different, because the things here, there is one word that I could always, but also when they ask me, like now also like a Hungarian dude asked me, like he will finish the university in Budapest at one of the unis, and then he just contacted me, like asked a bunch of questions because he wants to move here. And this is what I told him, like if I would have to say one word like about Finland, it would be simplicity, because everything that you just said and we talked about exactly describes Finland. That the forest, the way they build the houses, it's very simple, and it's not a bad thing. Also, the ABC food or the food, it's always like a very simple. Maybe this is the only thing that they like should be
too simple.
Yeah, exactly. Like maybe a bit more flavor from time to time.
Please use spices sometimes.
Exactly, exactly. But otherwise, it's true that they don't have the history, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, because they have identity. And their identity is this simplicity that they eat raw salmon. They don't do anything special, and it's crazy good. And the houses also, the way they build the houses, it's very simple, right? Just wood on top of each other. It's like nothing fancy decoration, technically. Like one color, one roof, and then wooden like the boards on top of each other.
Wood on top of each other. I think every architect in the world would probably want to kill you right now. But but I understand. That's a valid point. Well, and another thing that I wanted to ask is how do you feel about the Hungarian politics? Like as of
Funny.
funny, yeah. Because how long is Orban in there? It's like 14 years, I believe.
Been 1.5 decades at least.
A couple of weeks.
Yeah. Funny guy.
But well, so how do you? First of all, how do you think that the Hungarian like society reacts to it? Because, well, to which degree that is still a democratic choice of a leader, right? I suppose that it's not that easy for people to change democratically.
Yeah.
And like, is the general consensus of the people that okay, it's fine, or is there like two different groups fighting against each other? Like some of them are supporters, some of them are not, or is this like generally everybody's like, you know what, I just gave up?
Yeah, well, this topic, like in general, my belief is that I don't really look after politics in general. No, anywhere. Like not even in the US or in Finland, and not even in my home country. And the main reason for that is that I can't really change it, and I have other things to do now than just to get like extra problems and then try to think about those, even though I cannot change them. So that's why I don't really follow. So everything that I'm going to say is like kind of not really my opinion. I will try to say it like that, but like how, because I have like many friends, and that's why I know what's going on there. But
my question is rather it's absolutely fine, and
Yep.
I actually kind of envy you for being able to do this, because I'm digging into politics quite a lot, and
Really?
sometimes I'm
Okay.
like, why am I doing this?
yeah, exactly.
But anyways,
I would do
my
the same.
question is rather like, how does an average young citizen of Hungary feel about this, especially from a point of view of somebody who does not focus on the politics? So like, when this comes to the table as a talk, like how do the people feel about it, rather, or
Okay.
how do you feel about it?
Okay, the first way you structured your question is different than the second way you structured, because you use the word that young people. Well, young people tend to move away, so there is like that's one that
Yeah, we
back
have
up.
the same problems.
Yes, so they tend to leave now or as soon as they can, technically. But in general, that was the second question. Well, it really depends on age, because older people, like they lived through communism and everything back in the days, they have like a very different point of view, and then they are more easy to get their votes, to say it nicely. I try to say it as nicely as I could, because they kind of have like all the TV channels and everything that those people can see. So they have this one source that that everything that these funny guys doing, that's the good thing, and they are fighting demons, and they are the peace holders, and they are doing God's work, technically, and it's a bit catastrophic in this sense. But an average people is like definitely not happy. Like it's just like, I think there was some kind of statistics that actually like real statistics that it's a bit hard to find some from time to time. But it's like something like until the age of 29, people cannot move away from their parents, which is like crazy if you think about it. Like here, I also really like this here that
Sorry, cannot
Yes?
move away in a sense like cannot or don't want to,
cannot,
or
like just financially cannot.
financially. Okay.
Cannot, because it's just too expensive. Like the whole salary would go for the flat, even if you just like rent like a studio or some random like hall with nothing in it technically. It's just not possible. And the prices, it's just like the same as here, but the salaries, if you don't count their statistics, what they show, it's like 1/5 as here, but the prices are the same. So it just doesn't match. And the flat prices, it's, for example, there it's much more expensive than here in Finland. It's like here my flat house is half, and I live in a good flat here, not even like in a bad one. So it's just not possible financially. But when I think about what Finland try to do, is that they try to, as soon as I think it's like 16, the age of 16, they try to make younger people move away, so they would try to live independently. which I think is like such a good approach in life in general, because you have to become independent at some point in your life, either way. Maybe not when you are 16, 18, 20, 22, 25, but maybe when you are 35. But you will have to become independent. And it's much better to do earlier than later. And it's kind of true for everything. But yeah, everything else, it's like, in general, people are not really happy that they can't live their life properly. And then that's why they try to find different solutions to resolve this issue. Maybe they have like some kind of second job here and there. Yeah. But yes.
Okay, so as of the general feeling is that people are unhappy. It's just that, well, there is nothing to do about it.
Yeah, well, people in general, they feel like they kind of know that there is a very limited circle who are close to the government, and they always live like very happily, and everyone else is just like left on their own. Well, for this topic, I'm not really saying my own thoughts, but like rather what I hear from all the time from my friends. So I just say, oh, thank you. Mm-hmm. But I just rather say those because I'm not living there, so I just know the circumstances and not the actual experience. And how is it in Czech, by the way?
Good.
Good.
No. Well, we still have democracy, so that would be the first big difference, I guess.
Okay. So the airport is not owned by individuals. That's quite good.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We are soon gonna have elections, and after those, it's most likely gonna be the same way as in your place. But well, I mean, people are unhappy right now because of all the financial crises that have happened, and the way, well, the first government handled it poorly. Now the government is handling it kind of well, but kind of well in long term means bad now.
Okay.
And they are horrible with communicating the message. So everybody is super angry with them because they're like, oh, they're taking away our money, but then there is people going on press conferences economically explaining why they are doing so in order to heal the debt and the financial issues that the government has. But nobody wants to hear that. Nobody understands that. They want to hear that their bread is going to be cheaper, right?
Exactly.
Which is impossible in order to achieve long-term goals. So there is a mismatch communication-wise. So the old government is going to go back in there and they're going to make business.
The good way. Okay.
They have. Yesterday I was talking about this with my father. I was going to their website. The
government one?
The political party that is now in the we have a political party system where there's tens of political parties. There is approximately, like, let's say 6, 7 of the biggest ones, and let's say 3 to 4 of them usually are the ones that are like taking care of the stuff there. And now it's a coalition of several parties against this party. That's how the party got big. And now even the coalition sort of dissolving. They are not able to stand against them anymore. This one party has, like, in the preferences, in the predictions, has like 35%. The next party is like 6. so maybe 11 or something like that.
Yeah, but
point being that there is like no chance. And so I went to this party's website, the winning one, and they are exactly this, like, you know that they're not gonna do anything except for having business with friends.
Yeah.
but they have amazing PR. They are exactly targeting the seniors, targeting the people who they exactly the same thing, right?
And
it's exactly this type of deal. Like I remember the political leader of that party is like the third richest person in Czech Republic, and that guy can buy literally anything he wants to.
Okay.
But he's doing videos when he's sitting with a Yorkshire in a sweater, comparing prices of Nutellas between Germany and Czech Republic, right? That guy, right, who could buy literally anything.
Yeah.
And he probably didn't buy Nutella himself by hand for like 10 or 15 years, but he's sitting there showing it, which is what the people want, right?
Of course.
And his political party, first of all, it's called Yes.
Yes.
Their political slogan is it's going to be better. and when you
it's even the same as in Hungary.
And when you go to the website, the government that we have now, when they came in, they decreased in some financials given to the seniors in the pensions, within some reform of valorization package, the pension valorization package, which caused the seniors having a little less money, right? So huge uproar, like why do you do that? Again, the actual like economical explanation, nobody understands that on the TV, and there was just nobody who could say it for normal people, so they could understand it. So this political party got into it, right? Like they are stealing your money, and we are gonna give you like this much money when we are there immediately.
Immediate, yeah, classic.
On the website, when you go there is the header. On the left upmost corner, there is the logo, and then there is the different chapters in the header, right? The navigation.
Yeah.
The first navigation says calculator. When you click on that, it points you to a different website, which says, calculate how much did they steal on your pension. There is an input in which you can say how much pension are you getting right now, and it gives you how much the government stole from you on pensions, right? But that is exactly what the people want to hear, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. It's impressive because
to be like I'm not a voter, but to be fair, their marketing and their PR is amazing.
Exactly.
Like, they know exactly what to say.
I'm not here to say anything, but I always, for years, I told my friends and my family also that regardless of what's going on, it's crazy. Like everything is so organized, and like this organized stealing, it's like it goes so well. Like even the small ideas that they bring potato to the seniors, and then they get their votes. It's like these ideas. Whoever came up with, like, give him one of the stolen monies from that, give some raise from that to that person, and
this is so hilarious how similar it is, because the guy, the leader of the political party, again, like third or fourth most rich person in Czech Republic, was standing in the stand before the elections giving away donuts.
And also, when you said the slogan is like, it's going to be better in your country, but in Hungary, it's for like many years, it's Hungary performs better. It's crazy. And back to the percentages, like I had to laugh, like because when you were talking about like 35% and then the next one 11 or 8, whatever, like they still need to improve, because a few tactics from Orban, because like the way it started back in the days, like when he first got elected, like it's like a meme there, this 2/3 meme, like that they got 2/3 of the overall votes, and okay, the next election comes, and then everyone thinks like, okay, now it's going to be like maybe 50-50, 2/3. Okay, next election, that was like 3 years ago, and now like everyone is out on the street, like this huge parade and everything. Election comes, like they prepared some planes if they have to may leave or something to visit some other places for a period of time, and then the results are out, 2/3. It's such a meme. So next year, it's now there is like a huge.
Can you bet on the elections?
Like now there's a huge party going on. It's like a growing party, which is like a dude leads it, who came out from Orban's part, and then there were a couple of incidents, and he's leading like the kind of like he's the upcoming hope, how people like to believe, but it's just rather like I said, this is my personal opinion, this one, but in general, like I don't follow it, but I know that it's just rather a desperation other than actual solution, because they just rather want, it's true though, this is true, that they just rather want someone else. Like they don't really care if it's good or bad or whatever, they just want someone else.
You think it's gonna work?
If it's gonna work, well, like last time they also thought that it's going to work, and even Orban and they thought that it's going to work, but they still got the 2/3, and even they were surprised. Really, it's crazy, bro. But we will see. It's like there are some changes actually, because a couple of influencers there they are also started to do work. So maybe now it's not going to be 2/3, but maybe a little less, hopefully, or they can do something. But for me, like I can't really say anything because I don't know their program from both. I mean, I know Orban's program. It's probably the same, the agenda as it was before, but I don't know this new political. It's like there is a river called Tisa, and then like Tisa, like group technically. But I'm not familiar with their agenda, so I cannot say like if it's good or bad. But in general, people just want change. But I'm not sure like how good it is based on they have so many infrastructure and everything in their hand. Like if I think about it, like just like as an outsider, like if they have so many things in their hand, like wouldn't it be catastrophic if there would be like a new someone new who would lead the government, but they don't have anything in their hand, just maybe the law. That's the only thing left, that they have to try to get everything back from them. So I'm not sure like how hard it would be.
Yeah, that's a tough one already.
But it's crazy, like how I think about it whenever this topic comes up, that how crazy it is to actually organize something like this, that you have to hold everything in hand. So it's like in this sense, if we don't think about the consequences, what they do with the countries, like we mentioned that it's crazy, like all these PR and everything, like they come up with, and even the I'm not sure how it is in Czech, but I heard that the way they modify the law, just little words in the law, and or add a little here and there, and they can sell everything to themselves. So it's like very efficient.
Yeah, they are like, again, this guy that I'm talking about, this rich person is like, I'm not aligned with his ideas or like I don't support him, but I have to objectively say
yes,
he is good in what he's doing. Like
exactly
what he's doing is doing it right, because it apparently works.
Yes,
over almost 40% of the country. So I guess
yeah.
And so what's there next for you when you finish the bachelor's, the business bachelor's? Now, so can you start already now in January, or you have to wait for the autumn?
I can wait. I can do like kind of immediately because like the Finnish education systems allows me technically to do all the business courses. So I will do that, but mainly the thesis is left. So I will have to try and write it again. Actually,
In half a year.
Yeah. So that's going
It's
to
not impossible.
no, yeah. I mean, definitely not. I will have to read a couple of books for it. It's going to be more about finance side, and afterwards there are multiple ways that I was thinking about. Either I would want to aim for a master's from finance at Oulu, because I read their program and then it exactly aligns with my thoughts that I would want to know. Because nowadays, as we talk like outside of this talk, that my perspective on IT it's changed a little bit. That with the involving the AI and all the advancements, it's like rather became a tool in my eyes, at least to create something with it. So that's why I would rather want to learn like other fields than I can always get back to this route to the IT field, and then I can actually create something with it that I learned already before. So, and Oulu they teach exactly what I would want to learn from finance, this like security analysis and portfolio risk management. So that could go very well, and maybe later on business infused by this business knowledge, and I would want to use IT to actually create it. But it's like it's still just a plan, so it's not like that it's very clear. So how it would, when I would actually start it, like it would get more clear and clearer and clearer.
And you want to do the masters already this autumn, upcoming?
Yes, if everything goes well, then I would definitely want to do that. But apparently, when I checked it, it's like actually harder to apply to masters in different field. I mean, it's kind of logical because they expect you to have a certain amount of from that field. Like for example,
credits.
this case, yeah, from this case, like it's finance. I think it's for every university it's a bit different, but for Oulu, I think it was 40 credits from finance, like accounting, and these things. Because here they also offer it, and I took all the courses, but it's not going to add up to 40, I think, because business and finance is not the same. So the problem is that they don't include business studies, because it's like a technically, even though they work a bit like together, right? But it's not the same. It's a different field. So only the finance courses are included.
And but as far as I'm concerned, there is especially from University of Applied Sciences, you have to have like 2 years of experience after the bachelor's in order to get to a normal university, no?
I've heard this quite many times, but I never read it anywhere. Because now that I'm actually living here, I know like where to read these properly, and actually like study info improved a lot ever since I came here. So it's like much better. They are still missing quite a few informations, but I read through multiple universities' website and study info. And I've never read like anything through the admission or eligibility page that or like a paragraph where they would mention anything about it. Maybe because I only read business ones, and it's possible that it's specific to IT masters, because for business I got to know that there is like apparently an exam, like a business exam that they would like to check, and but you have to do it beforehand. But I never heard of this exam before I actually checked it, and the way I understood it is kind of like a language exam, that you do it and then you just have like a point from it. Like it's like you have like a B2 level of English, then you have a paper about it. You do this business exam I'm not sure how to do it or where, because I just checked it like a couple days ago, because the application period will start at 5 of January next year.
What is the name?
It's like a very long name, I don't remember it. But it's like a general business exam. And you get like up to 800 points, I think. And then you have to reach like 550 usually. And which is very weird for me, that because it was like unexpected, because I heard so many times that this 2 years thing it exists, but I never actually read it.
Yeah, but that's why I'm asking, because I've also heard it from somebody who heard it from somebody.
Yeah, exactly,
And,
like same thing.
I have never seen it myself, so. But I guess in that sense, it's probably the easiest just to call the university and ask the admission office. They probably know the best.
Yeah, but they should, because usually it's like actually very good that they always highlight the key important parts. That everything that is like mandatory, it's like highlighted. And then there comes like some random text, like we would like you to send this, that's like random. And then every time the important things are highlighted. And I never read something like this. It was also, from me, it's like from mouth to mouth. From mouth to mouth, I heard this, that yeah, he said this, but I heard it from this person, and then that's how. Maybe it was in the past. And what are your plans though?
Oh, to finish bachelor's. Well, I don't know. We have this saying in Czech that you create plans so they can fuck up.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So I do have plans, of course. Whether they are gonna be like that or not, that's a whole different story. But now this week, I actually like 2 days ago, I was having my meditation minute of thinking when I was trying to fall asleep. Just the only time that I give my head to talk to me. And I was going through like stuff, because like overall now, what I'm doing and how I'm living, I'm like generally overall very happy with my life. Like I do stuff that I enjoy doing. I'm aiming somewhere every day. I'm full of energy. I'm happy that like everybody's positively vibed around me. So in general, I live like a really nice life. And then I was thinking, like, what are the things that are like, if I would want to be like a fully 100% positive person that just goes and spreads positivity wherever he goes, what would I need to like do? So what are the negative parts about my life that I have to drop?
Yep.
And one of the things is with a lot of other people as well as especially students, is money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I live this life from like month to month for years and years all over again, and it's okay, but
Yeah.
this sort of uncertainty, it's all the time. Every other month it just happens that like the last week of that month I'm like, yeah, well, no more eggs for me.
Yeah.
So it's like it's this maybe I would explain it a different way. I was listening to several different podcasts and business people talking and stuff, and people who didn't have anything and then made a lot of money, right? So they're now rich, or wealthy rather, but at the beginning when they were kids, they were poor, right?
Yeah.
And all of these people have one thing in common to say about this, and this was like, difference between like 100,000 euros on the bank account and 1 million on the bank account is not really that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like it's, of course, it is a big of a deal, but
how hard it is to achieve.
It's like you're okay when you have 100,000. The difference in lifestyle between 100,000 and 1 million is not that big of a difference rather. but the especially one things that Joe Rogan emphasizes a lot, like talks about a lot, which kind of stuck to my head the most, is that he says like the day that I got my first paycheck, I was like I could breathe. I could take a deep breath in, and I'm like, okay, this is over. Like I don't have to anymore think about my rent. I don't have to think about like I can go to a restaurant and order a food and not look at how much the food costs.
Yeah.
Like I can just breathe, right?
Mhm.
And so this is now the last portion of my life, which is very unsettling to me, because I don't mind living from month to month, but this sort of pressure that it's a student life. Every student's life
exactly.
like that. I
Exactly.
don't want to sound like a victim. It's a normal thing for everybody, right? But I'm first of all I'm fed up.
Not with the food.
Not with the food, especially.
But in the
That's
situation.
just a problem. But the thing is that, like, for example, now, right? I have these past 2 weeks, or this week and the next week, I have, I don't know, 4 exams. But I still have to go to work, because if I wouldn't have stuff to eat in January, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I want to take a break between my studies. My plan was to finish the Bachelors of IT, finish the Bachelors in Business, 2 years of Masters, and then work.
Yeah.
But now I do have a job, so that's sort of an easy step for me. But now I'm thinking that I might just stop with the studies, like finish the IT Bachelors, for example, and make a year of a break, or or else I would just finish the Bachelors of Science and Bachelors of Business and then make a year of a break, to make like a sort of a financial buffer.
Yeah.
So then when I am on the master's studies, and there would be like, I don't know, I have exams and I cannot come to work for 14 days, then I can just, without thinking about it, go and study for 14 days and not care about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because I would get a couple hundred less on the salary, but I could just, I have some savings that I could take it from, which now I don't have, which is a constant like pressure mentally.
Because even when you have savings, it's like, even if you don't touch them, it gives like this safety feeling.
Exactly.
If everything would collapse, like you would be fine still. Yeah.
Exactly my point. So back to your question, my plan now is to finish the IT bachelors tomorrow. On Friday rather, I have a meeting with Timo to discuss the exchange to Japan.
Yeah.
Because there might be an issue with that if I would have a break for a year, then I couldn't like start and immediately go for an exchange. So it might have to be necessary for me to have it continuously. In that case, I would of course have to finish the Bachelor of Business as well. But
so
if Timo tells me that it's possible to have a break and then come to the Bachelor's and immediately go for an exchange, then based off of my like previous records from these studies, then I would take the break immediately. And
like this would be like your last semester.
The next one, yeah. Like
so
spring.
Spring, and from summer onwards, like from May onwards, you would be work for a year.
Yes, and then again I would have a whole year break.
Yeah.
And then in August I would start the business again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I would just move on forward. But in that meantime, I can make enough money that I'm like, okay, I'm safe. I don't have to, like, if there is my phone breaks or something, I can just go to Telia and immediately buy a new one, just so I can function, right? Now I would have to switch to a Nokia with buttons because
same, yeah.
So that's probably a big. That's one of the big things that I'm like contemplating right now, how to manage with that. And then otherwise I just finished, my plan is to go for half a year to Japan within the exchange. And then maybe when I finish Masters, or maybe within Masters, I would also like to try to go to the US.
Mm-hmm. And is Japan your first? Like that's the priority, or rather the break is the priority? So
Well, no. If Timo tells me that that I cannot go to Japan if I take the break now, I'm going to Japan first.
Okay,
and
so
then
that's
I'm
the
gonna take the break.
Okay, okay.
Like, I can still. It's like it's mental pressure. I'm like not happy about it. It's a little unsettling, but I can still go on for a couple of years if necessary.
Okay.
But it would be just easier for me if I didn't have to. But I will definitely choose Japan over that. But then I would also try to test out the US, and by that I would have basically like the 4 or rather 3 most interesting places to me to live in. Would have the northern countries, by which I mean Finland, and then I would have Japan and US, and I would compare which suits me personally the best, and then I would probably move there. So it's still possible that I will move out of Finland as well. Highly unlikely though, but with Japan I don't think that's gonna happen, because I think that the work ethics and the way of life is like so wildly different that I feel like I'm gonna really enjoy the stay, but I don't think I'm gonna want to stay there fully.
Yeah, it's like the same when there are places when it's just very good to live and be as an outsider, but it's not that good to live in, because either it's just so much different that you cannot get used to it, because there are some cultural things that you need to be like ever since you are born and get used to it that way. So in that sense, it's like, yes, it can be very hard.
Yeah, but with the US, especially if everything that the guy with the plastic hair promised to do when he gets into the office, if they actually do everything that they promised, it might be a pretty good place to be at. So I might consider moving there. But again, I want to first test it out. Like, I want to dip my toe a little. So I was thinking that either within my master's, as maybe like an exchange, or else that I would finish the master's and then do there like a PhD in there, like Janne, for example.
Yeah.
That would be a second way of trying to get there. But yeah, world is too big, and there is too much stuff that I would wish to try and to test and to live at and to learn.
To know and learn,
Yeah, but there is just so much time in the lifetime.
Yeah, like that's for me it was exactly when you started started your story, what you plan. It's like the very first sentence, like nothing plays out as you planned. Like this Oulu plan, it's like technically this is my 11th plan that I had, and it's like probably not gonna happen either. So from something is going to happen most likely, and then I have to decide something 3 days before I actually do the thing. So it's like I don't think that's
well, to be fair, you need to have the plans, because there is like a certain outline that you give by the plans to your life, to your life path. So I have my life, quote unquote, pre-planned up till like 35 years of age, right?
Yes.
So I have like a plan for the upcoming 10 years, let's say.
Yeah, exactly.
The plan might deviate, but I have an outline. I'm not clueless. Like, I know what I'm trying to do. It's just that on the way it might branch off of a little, but there is an end goal that I'm aiming for, and whether the end goal is gonna change a little bit, that's fine. It can be something different in the future, but I cannot live without a purpose. Like, I cannot live
exactly.
Well, so who am I gonna be today?
Like, this is just one thing. It's like not possible, because you have to have always a purpose. But also in today's world, it may sound cliche, but I really don't agree with like people who still ask like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I know they have to ask this one-liner.
I don't think they do.
But yeah, maybe they don't. But I don't understand the reason. Like for example, when the war happened, like did they also ask them like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Then tomorrow it just changed everything. Like, yeah, very good question. Like, nowadays anything could happen. And as you mentioned, it's important to have an outline, but you cannot have like a clear vision. I mean, you can, but it will most likely change, because everything changes so fast, all opportunities come and go, you meet with people, different people all the time, and it's just not possible to, and it's not even good to maintain, because there are also people who just try to stick to, okay, I have this, now I go with this. Then all kinds of opportunities come in front of them, and then they just close-mindedly just go through like them, and that's also not healthy. I mean, not healthy, but like not good.
Yeah, true. Oh, I mean, I guess the question whether you see yourself in 5 years is more of like a test if the person is able to make an outline for himself rather than that they want to know what he's gonna wear in 5 years.
Yeah, hopefully.
But hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, this is well. I mean, the whole this whole application to a job is a whole story for itself. But yeah, it's necessary to have plans. But again, they just tend to not go as wished.
Yeah, like you just have to have plans, because these are the things that moves you forward. Like if you wouldn't have plans, then how would you move forward? Like what would you do then?
Well, because you don't even know what forward is.
Exactly, exactly. Like it's very contradictory that otherwise you cannot move forward.
This is one thing that I'm very interested in, or like I would like to help out people with if somebody needs to text me. but a lot of the times I feel like that the students come to the university and they're like, excuse me, yeah. So I want to do IT, and what specifically do you want to do? Well, something in IT. Like, yeah, but there's like tens and almost hundreds of different like niches that you have to choose from. Like like doing in IT, doing cybersecurity and developing games is like so wildly different concepts. And they like a lot of the times the people don't even like have a desire to find out, like, or maybe that's not maybe the
no,
best
it's good.
phrasing,
No, it's
but
good because it's a good phase. I think this desire, the word itself, but it's true because they are kind of lost. But actually, this is one of the topics. How when I talk with Janne now, this was one of actually the topics that how about regarding the education, like here, that it's very important. It's like there is lexical knowledge, right, and there are like life skills. And this is one of the examples that you just mentioned, that they come here and that they don't know what to do. That somehow education should also make students to be more independent, not only in life, but to be able to, for example, education should do that, they should learn by themselves, make them teach how to do that. So in that case, they wouldn't be stuck to that one specific field, but rather they go to IT and they are able to distinguish what they want to do because they already have the skills. Okay, what am I interested in? And then they are actually able to look after it and think through it properly. And in case they do it, but midway but I'm more interested in nursing, which is very unlikely, but it's possible, then they can change and then they can catch up because they already have these life skills. I really think that this is the most important one, and that's the very fundamental, because if you have these life skills that you learn, then everything in life you will keep this forever while you are alive, and it will help you throughout your whole journey, technically, which is it can be applied to many things. Like just studying is just one thing that you will always have to learn something new for work also, or you may have to change jobs, and you have to be able to learn those, right? And lexical knowledge is just not enough.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's just this is such a broad
it's very broad
topic to dig into, but if I sort of cut down the other influencing factors and the other topics that we could dig into, especially within IT, I feel like just going on at least YouTube and saying like, okay, I'm good at this, and going on YouTube and looking at like, okay, what the day of a data analytic guy looks like, what a day of a programmer looks like, what a day of a cybersecurity guy looks like, and just compare those people and see like, okay, this is probably what would be most interesting to me. Like, it's not that difficult. Again, very much cutting down on a specific niche. Rather.
Yeah, yes, but you have to look into for us it's like rather like you explain. But I know a lot of people, and I've met with a lot of people who, for them, it's just they just either don't think about it or they just don't do it. That, oh wait, I can actually Google it. Like there is this "let me Google that for you" website. And it exactly explain. Okay, it's a meme, but it's actually true that when we talked about this curriculum, this is exactly what I try to say for those people who actually need to see their progress. They need to see that, okay, this is first semester, this is next semester, and then so on, so on, so on. And for them, they may not do that. Okay, wait, I can actually Google a day of a life of a, I don't know, cybersecurity guy or whatever, right? But they don't think about this, but they are rather like in their world that, well, I could do this, but they just don't think about it, for example.
Well, but that's kind of connecting to the thing that we were saying before, is that you cannot live purposeless.
Yeah.
And like for me, it's absolutely ununderstandable, inunderstandable. I don't know whatever the word is.
Yeah.
I cannot understand.
Yeah.
How can somebody just like wake up and be like, well, today I'm just gonna go about my day and see what's gonna happen. Like, it's kind of obvious that you're gonna get lost and depressed. Like, you need to have some purpose, right? You have to
directions.
Well, purpose maybe is not the best fit
directions,
for it, but like some
goals, yeah,
to achieve. Because I don't know what I would do if I would have to live. Like, I mean, what I would do would be to find a new goal.
Yeah.
If somebody was like, okay, you don't need money anymore and you are successful now from tomorrow. Yeah. And I'm gonna be like, okay, then I'm just gonna read all books in the world, or I don't know, I'm gonna become a politolog or like science.
Yeah.
Science and politics, or do something else. I'm just gonna continue. Like,
exactly. Like, there are so many things that like, that's why I don't really agree that when people say that when older people say that, yeah, I've seen everything and then I experienced everything and all of this, like, nowadays there are so many things in the world, like so many like different people came up with so many different business ideas, like different kind of, okay, like it's a stupid example, but different kind of amusement park, escape rooms, and all different kind of entertainment wise or like knowledge wise also. There are just so many different things that it's very hard to say that you have seen everything.
No, it's impossible. You cannot.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like one life is just not enough. Even if there are those people who travel to all countries, it's like even they cannot see it.
We just have to wait for Elon to transfer brains into machines so we can live forever, and then we can do everything.
Then we can do everything, yeah.
Well, all right, let's wrap it up.
Sure.
It was a great chat, man.
Thank you for having me.